my droid, he's got no legs. So let's take care of that. Oh my the goodness, was it a journey to get to here. So much has happened. I've got all the parts, well, I got a lot of the parts printed. All the parts for the legs printed. Whether we get to the center one and the feet, that's a whole nother story, but there's just a metric ton of parts over here. We should start on this side, as this is where all the problems started happening. So bear with me while I recount the tale that brought us here. I printed all of these pieces solid. This is going to be the shoulder hub, right? And then the leg bit goes in there. I don't have any of the details, by the way. All of the accent pieces, like the little thing that goes in here, the things that go in here, those are going to be separate. That's a whole nother thing on itself. And then this piece goes like that. Very fetching leg so far. Then I have this piece here, which was this piece here. But if you look, right there, it's not the best printer in the world. This piece is supposed to go in here, into this collar like so. But it goes much farther. Let's see if we can make it go farther. Because, spoiler, this is not the piece that's going on the droid. So here it is as designed. It is a very decent looking leg, right? It's very neat. But I was having a bit of quality issues. I originally designed the ankle to have the slit so I could put a piece of metal in just for reinforcement. And then I printed it and went, oh, that was absolutely unnecessary. Every piece is solid, right? And then this guy, again, solid. It looks good, but it's not necessarily what I wanted. I wanted it to separate a little better. So I printed this one, which is a cap that slips over the bottom piece. But man, look at that texture. That's from support. I'm like, I can't. I ripped a good chunk of it trying to take the support off. It was just an unpleasant experience. The next one came out like this. Well, I was trying to print the leg. We got one of these. I almost got the base down because the base is, well, we'll go over the base in a minute. And then there's got a collar that goes over that would have worked well. This collar, weird layer adhesion issue. So in the end, I had to basically redesign everything. And I'm like, if I'm redesigning everything, I need to put a little more philosophy into what I'm doing. And what I mean by that is I need to make him exist and then make him perfect later. And to do that, I had to think of a lot of, I had to put more thought into what I normally do. So I wanted his shoulders to be adjustable because I'm not motorizing most of him. He's probably going to get a couple of motors in his feet to move him along, but that's about it. So I made this. Right? This piece has a little notch that will set into that. So if I want him just standing, I just thread a couple of bolts through and it locks it in place. If I want him tilted, and then again I'm going to have inserts and it's going to lock everything in place. His shoulder, which I'm exceptionally happy with now, is 3 pieces. I've got a base piece, which will fit in the ring perfectly. I didn't put any alignment points, and I really should have. That's probably going to come back to bite me, but you know, we aren't there just yet. So these pieces go together like this, right? Then I have a base plate with a big hole in it. So when these two pieces go together, there's a huge gap in here that I can run wires through. And then the top plate sandwiches everything together and makes it one solid piece. So that turned out very well. Then I have the leg redesign, which has a matching hole in the back and one underneath that goes all the way through. You notice there's a distinct change in quality mid-print. Then I have a sleeve, also hollow, and then the bottom leg part. I took all the round bits off. I'll put them in after the fact. There's no reason to have them on the on the model. They're accessory pieces. They're not part of the base. Just like that. And that's the bulk of my leg. This guy's kind of interesting. He's hollow. And he's got two little openings on either side. That way I can keep it symmetric on whichever leg it happens to be on. I tried to make him as symmetric as I could. And there is the bulk of his leg, right? There's a couple accessory pieces onto the ankle part. Right? That's the little cylinder part that's on R2. But I rounded it and gave it a dome, and I made it seem... I wanted to make it match my Mandalorian. Then there's weird little box things that go in the front. So that will go right about there. Actually, it'll go exactly there. Because this top edge lines up with this bend. So it sticks down just a touch. And then we come to the feet. I glued one up already. Except I glued it up backwards. So none of this has been sanded. None of it's been cleaned. I still have raw edges. But I did the same mythosaur with cross skull bones. And this piece is going to go right there. And there's a matching piece that goes on the other side. But I'm not going to hold it in place. And again, I redesigned the entire foot to match what I did for the skirt. And I added little nubbins, as is, Mandalorian or R2 style. But then, because I can't leave well enough alone. And again, this is the back. I just glued these on the wrong side. So it's actually going to go that way. So the part that goes here is called the battery box. I added, that's where the nubbins normally, the little, the wire goes on his feet. They go from there to this. But I'm having it go to the bottom instead because I added little blasters on the front that match the blasters on the gauntlets. So that's kind of what the feet are going to look like. Once everything is all together, and then the rest of the leg builds off. So if I have to reprint his foot, it's not the end of the world. It'll only take about a day. But that is just because of the newest member of the family. The new 3D printer. It is up, it's running, it's currently printing pieces for the feet, but it is literally half the time of the Tronxy. And now don't get me wrong, I still love my Tronxy. It's a great printer. There were so many little problems with that thing. I never got the bed leveled properly. I mean, it was leveled fine, but the distance was always off. So I'd have to start a print, and I put a brim around it. So it would start there, and then I would fine-tune the screws to get everything flat and level, so it would all do the first layer properly. And just I no matter how much I messed with it, I could never get it right. It would do a good job, but it was exceptionally slow, and then there was messing with it. This thing, I can literally just go push the button, and walk away. I've never had a printer where I could just walk away from it, so that's interesting and neat. And like I said, it takes half the time. All of this took about 2 weeks to print. I mean, I can't. It's barely there. It's a little more noticeable here. But for half the time and better quality, no, I'm very happy. It was an expensive purchase, but I'm very glad I bought it because it has served well. And again, I don't need him being the droid, to be perfect, right? He's probably never gonna 3-2-3. Or 2-3-2. It's where he starts and then rolls the third wheel out as he moves. There is no need for that. He's going to either be standing there, or he's going to be leaning back, or he's going to be driving around. And if he's driving around, I only need motors in the feet. his head's probably going to do a thing and light up and do all that, all the droid stuff. That's fine. But the rest of him can just be relatively static. So get the leg set up like this because this is how he's going together. Start at the top, work our way down. When we're done, we're done. This has been lightly sanded. I should have subdivided this a little better. Just so you didn't have as many facets. I'm okay with the facets. They're going to be painted black anyway. It fits very well. Everything's been sanded so I can glue it PLA to PLA. Just like before, I'm using PVC cement. Probably going to do it from the inside. Nice hefty amount. Put it in there. Nothing is going to control how this droid stands more than this joint here. But if it's a little off, it's fine because I can always put a shim along, you know, to straighten everything out. So it's not the end of the world if I'm a little off. Like I said, there's minimal sanding on these. It's actually like super impressive. This is where things are going to get difficult because this has a little bit of a wobble to it. So I need to line it up as best I can and hope for the best. I'm using PVC cement. I'm going to glue the whole shoulder assembly together because this thing just looks really good and it's ready to go. Hub goes on, the front piece goes in, and then the collar goes on top. That's it. So we're going to glue this. And have a respirator on because PVC glue, it ain't no joke. It is just horrible. This leg printed perfect, glued perfect. It is spectacular. It's exactly what I wanted. This one I don't know about yet. Because this one is printed on the Tronxy. This exact print is the reason I got the new printer. I have to decide whether it's good enough to go on the bot or not. I'm honestly leaning towards reprinting everything. But that's just, this is about, I'd say 2 days worth of print. I mean, can you see a difference? I mean, I'm sure there is. The gap at the bottom here is a little bigger. It's not as smooth on the top. But that's pretty much it. That's not bad. Looks pretty okay so far. Add the rest of the leg pieces. I haven't actually seen this on him yet. So I'm just as surprised as you are. I like the leg. The leg looks perfect. Do the shoulders really look that far off? I don't think so. I think it's good. I think we run with it. So I consume a lot of content. A lot of maker content. And I'm always like, well, where's the rest of the video? How come you're not, you know, where's the rest of your information? And it occurs to me, now that comparing these two, there's a night and day difference between the two of them. And I think maybe everybody else is just using better printers than I had. Anyway, on with the legs. One quick hole later, my deburr tool. There you go. Again, this is just for wiring. It doesn't have to be pretty. I feel like a lot of this video is going to be, and then I glued this to this, and then I glued this to this. But then I glued this to this. And I have a leg. This front piece, right here, gets that glued onto it. But there are a couple areas, like right here. You see that? It's a bit rough. Honestly, that's pretty much it. Maybe in here. Maybe along the bottom here. There's just a handful of spots that need a little bit of glazing putty. I'm just using the standard Bondo spot glazing putty. And then we're going to glue stuff. Let's sand this real quick. Shouldn't have hand sand because it's got a bit... Oh, this was the old printer. So I still got over extrusions and the layer lines aren't the best. So this is getting a light sanding. And then we'll pick it back up. So just about anywhere that is kind of rough. Usually it's support filament that it's usually supports that do that. Get a nice light glazing putty. I want as light a coat as possible because everything I put on I'm gonna have to sand off. The whole thing's getting a acetone glazing putty mixture later. But right now, I hit the parts that aren't glued on. That I feel need it. There really aren't many. This new printer is doing a really good job, and I was very careful with how I oriented most of this stuff. So now this is an interesting comparison, right? This is the Tronxy, and this is the new printer. So I don't even know if you can see the difference. Who knows where this thing is focusing today? All right. So the Tronxy, which is this one, is way rougher than the new printer. I mean, they both look good, but this one has considerably less finishing work. I think it's neat. But I'm gluing these on, and then we're going to let the glazing putty sit. You want it for at least 4 hours before you mess with it. Just straight glazing putty takes time to cure. Give it at least 4 hours. These things look spectacular. I'm very happy with them. Everything is glued on. Everything is ready to go. We're going to give it a very light acetone and glazing putty mixture. So what I mean by that is glazing putty is very dissolvable in acetone. So I do a decent amount of acetone with a little bit of glazing putty. For those that don't know, what that does is it causes all of the glazing putty to nestle in the recesses. And it really does a great job of evening out layer lines. Luckily, this print doesn't have many, so it should only take one coat to cover the whole thing. If you do this plastic container, acetone eats through foam. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. So, again, acetone is highly toxic. Well, it's toxic. It's not good for you. I'm gonna wear a mask the whole time. I'll give you a down view. We'll get through this pretty quick. And then it's gonna cure overnight. Today's tomorrow. Everything gets a light sanding, then we may be on to priming. It's going to be a super fast video. Nothing, you know, weird has happened, but it's not bad. It looks like a droid leg. Didn't do much with the back. Didn't really care about it. But, like I said, light sanding, and then we're going to see where we're at. So couldn't help it. I sanded everything, and I'm like, I want to see him in a rolling chassis. He's not close, and I'm using the Whistler here as a model for the angles of everything. Once I put the center foot in, the shell's been printed, but it's not quite ready. Once I put the center foot in, that will be the third part of the triangle. We're not quite there. I shouldn't be doing this, because this is just going to end poorly. Shouldn't be doing this because this is just going to end poorly, which is why I'm filming it so you can see too. I don't have the hardware I want to keep the legs in place properly. I have dowels that should work a little bit. I plan on putting a couple of clamps in just to make sure everything stays where I want it to. But this is a balancing act, to say the least. This is a balancing act for me too, jeez. The easy way would be on its side. So part of the problem is these holes. I designed them for a 1-inch dowel. I don't know that I have a 1-inch dowel anywhere. I was going to put sleeves and then 1/4-20 to lock everything in place. I could quickly fabricate the mounting plate I wanted for this. I think we'll do that real quick. It'll only take me a couple of minutes. So I have a board with 4 holes in it. The holes are slotted a little bit, so I have a little bit of play. This is not the final piece. This is going to end up being the template for the final piece. And then I have all of these holes for where the skirt attaches to the body. I've got a bunch of 1/4-20 bolts that I'm taking out and putting in to hold this piece in place. That is exactly what they were put in there for. So in theory, this should work perfect. Seeing as this is only temporary. Right about that. And neat. That wasn't nearly as painful as I thought it was going to be. Check him out. Again, we aren't anywhere ready for, you know, a final reveal or any of that jazz, but this joint is in a little bit, so I'll probably have to pop it along the bottom here so I can straighten it out. The other side only has only the top was glued, so I can adjust it a little bit. That is not bad. That is very cool. You know, if we're doing it right, might as well do it all, huh? Grab the dome ring and the dome itself. He's so big you can't even get in frame. I was gonna paint the legs. I think I'm gonna hold off on that just because this is perfect. I can't end better than this. It's been a weird week, and I want to end on a high note. Having my Droid mostly in a rolling chassis is a pretty high note. I have a couple decisions to make, like his radar eye. Do I want to keep it like this, or do I want to do the Mandalorian tee with it? I'm still printing pieces for the feet. The blaster boxes, I'm unhappy with. So I want to adjust those so it's a little more... It's less faceted, it's smoother. I think it'll look better. This is my... one of my more recent prints, right? Looks pretty good. This is where I started. Lots of layer lines, very few layer lines. It's amazing how much technology has changed in a decade. Yeah, it's been about that long. But I'm super happy with this guy. He doesn't fit in frame. Let's see if we can readjust that. He is nowhere near done. Legs need to be primed. Maybe another couple coats of glazing putty. I am very, very happy with how he looks. All of these pieces, they're just set on for now. The radar eye is taped on because it's up a bit and I don't want it to just float there. Hey, thanks for making it to the end. If you liked this one, which is just legs, I've got the full how I do acetone and glazing putty video. I'll put it over here. And let the algorithm choose whatever you want over there. Either way, I appreciate you making it to the end, and let's see you next time.